Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to look at creating just a really simple object using the laser joint feature. Okay, and what this allows us to do is create kind of like a type of finger joints in parts that allows us to kind of like puzzle fit them together. It's a really useful tool, and it's great for things that are made of multiple parts. And so we'll start here just by making a simple shape. So well, actually, even before we do that, right, we want to set the thickness of our material. So I'll create a variable called thickness, and we'll set the thickness to be 3.23 millimeters. Again, depending on the assignment, whatever material is available, I'll let you know the thickness for that one. So we have our thickness set, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by creating a shape. And so the key here is that any place we want for there to be a laser joint or this kind of box joint, we have to have the edges be overlapping. And so we'll do a really simple one first to start, just of two pieces, okay? So we have a square, right, and we'll extrude that to the thickness of the material. Okay, and this square could be whatever. So we have a square like this, or not a square, but kind of a rectangle. Okay, and so what we want to do is we want to make another piece that essentially intersects this one, and the place where they intersect is where that joint will be created. And so we're going to make a sketch on this plane, and what we're going to do is when we create the shape here, we're going to extrude it through this object. And so we'll make like what would be a wall, and so it's going to be facing a different way. And so instead of extruding it to the thickness, what we'll do is we'll set the width of this, getting our dimension tool. We'll set the thickness here, and then what we'll do from there is we're going to extrude. And now the key is there's two things. First of all, important that we're adding a new object instead of adding, because they have to be separate pieces. These are two different parts that are going to fit together. And then we want it to extrude through that other object. So now we see that they're overlapping here, and that's the key for us to be able to do the laser joints, okay? And so now we have these two overlapping objects, and we can come in here, and now we can use our laser joint feature. So we're going to choose laser joint, and we'll go automatic, and we're just going to click these two pieces. And you can see it generates that for us, those laser joints. We can actually change the number of pins if we wanted to, like make them really small, really small, or kind of bigger ones. The standard here was 3. You also flip which one's like outside or inside. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. It's easier maybe said than done. And so just a quick reminder, if we were to instead here say to add instead of do a new extrude, no laser joints occur because these are the same part now. And so it's really important that that happens. Also, if I extrude it this way where they're not overlapping, we also don't get laser joints here because they're not intersecting each other. So the laser joints can only occur in places where those objects intersect. Okay, and so it's important that we get those joints in there like that. Okay, so that's two pieces. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and back up here, and we'll go ahead and add a couple more pieces. We'll turn this into a box. Okay, and so if I want to make this a box, I can't draw all 4 sides at once. I can have to kind of do 2 sides at a time, otherwise they're going to extrude as all one piece. And I have to extrude each side. Since it's a flat material, we have to extrude each of them separate. So we're going to snap to the corner and snap to that corner there. We'll snap to this corner and then snap to that edge there. And we'll use the equal constraint to make each of these be the same. And then we'll set our thickness using the dimension tool, press the letter D. We'll set our thickness here to be the thickness of the material. All right, and maybe we'll make the height of our box to be, we'll extrude this. And so we want to make sure we extrude a new extrude, and it goes through. So here we see it going through the material. And we'll extrude it to a height, say, of 75. Okay. And now we have 2 walls here. Okay. And now we have to do the same thing. We've got to make 2 more walls. So I'm going to make a new sketch on the same plane. You notice I'm doing it on the bottom of the box so I can extrude through the edge. And we'll just go from corner to corner, just like we did before. Alright, we'll set these to be equal. Press the letter E to get the equal constraint. Press the letter D to get the dimension constraint. And dimension this to be the thickness. Okay, now we'll extrude this. We're going to choose selected new. We're going to extrude it the same distance. I can, instead of setting it though, I can do up to face. And I can select this face here. Okay, and now we've got it. So we've got our little box here. We'll go ahead and add a top or a lid to our box, so it's completely closed off. So we'll make a sketch on our top surface here. We'll choose one of these edges, and we're just going to make this start in this corner and go all the way to that corner. Okay, and then we're going to extrude. We'll use the thickness here. And you see it went up, we want it to go down, so it's intersecting it. So now we have all these parts intersecting in the corners. And so we'll add our laser joint feature. We'll do automatic, and we're going to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. Okay, and you can see it generated those laser joints in all the parts. Now from here, if you wanted to, you can actually, if you want different edges to have different amounts of laser joints, we could deselect 2 of these faces here. And then we could come back and then do another laser joint feature if we wanted to between, maybe you wanted to have like 6 pins here. Something like that, and then you'd have to go back and create one more laser joint feature for these guys. And set it back to 3. So obviously that was a little bit more complicated. Did that work? I don't know if that worked. I think I lost some of my pieces. Oh, gotta do automatic as well. Okay, and there we have it. So the laser joint's done. Now to manufacture this, we have to lay them all flat, and this is where this auto layout feature comes in. We set our, we'll just set the cut sheet to 1000 by 1000, and the thickness we're going to set to be the thickness, and we can set the spacing. If it gives you an error, you might need to change the spacing. But now it laid it all flat for me. And so something else that will come up here is if you have set something to be the wrong thickness, it won't behave the right way. So like let's say here on extrude or on sketch 2, I set this to be 5 instead of the thickness. So those are too thick now. When I do the auto layout, it's not gonna do it. It's gonna get confused with at least one of these pieces. And so this is, if the auto layout feature is not working right, that's a clue that maybe the thickness of something was wrong, and you have to go back and fix that. Okay, so from here, we're going to send it to Kirimoto. So we're going to go ahead and, I have one here added. You might have one from before, but you can click the plus, click the Kirimoto, opens up a tab. We'll go ahead and clear out this guy. We're set up with a laser, so our device is the laser, right? You can change that here. But yeah, we want to be under laser with the settings that we added. So we import a file. So we're going to import. We want to select Part Studio here, and we'll choose this one right there. So it brings out all those pieces for us. Click OK. Got all these parts here. Make sure under layers we're good to go. We have our height set to 0, and then we're going to go to preview. Looks like it did a good job. Then we can go ahead and export it as an SVG. Okay, so you can go ahead and try making your own box with laser joints and submit that. And yeah.